Good day everyone, welcome to the Finance Crash Course, where we will take a quick tour of the various finance processes. This is to walk you through to the Finance Committee, an important committee under the Operations Division of the Council of Student Organizations. To give you a brief overview of the Finance Committee, it is in charge of all financial processes for all events. They are in charge of auditing and checking all documents processed by organizations to ensure that they are accurate and properly accounted for. This committee aims to efficiently check every finance document for its service to the organizations. We hope you will stick around until the end of the video. Okay, let us begin with a definition of terms so that we are all familiar with the various terms used by the finance team. Working fund. This is the money obtained by the organization from internal and external transactions with individuals and businesses. The depository fund. This is the portion of the working fund that comes from donations or fundraising activities like annual recruitment week, solicitations, and so on. This money is kept in the accounting office. Cash on hand or petty cash fund. This is the amount of money obtained from the depository fund that the organization's treasurer keeps for himself and uses for minor and or unforeseen expenses of the activities of the organization. Requisition slips. These are slips found on the finance table that are filled out by an organization when making requisitions from establishments with accounts on campus. Deposit slip. This is the form that the treasurer uses when depositing cash or checks in the accounting office. Payment requisition slip. This is the form that the treasurer uses to withdraw money from the organization's fund. During the face-to-face classes, each PRS set includes 3 copies: white, green, and yellow. However, because we are in the midst of a pandemic, it is only in table form. List of expenses. This is a financial document that summarizes the costs associated with the activity. Income statement. This is the financial document that is used to report the revenues and expenses incurred by an organization during a fundraising activity. Budget proposal. This is prepared at the start of a term in which organizations must project their revenues and expenses for their activities. Variance and working fund statement. The working fund statement is a summary of an organization's cash inflow and outflow during a specific term, whereas the variance statement is a document that is prepared at the end of a term to compare projected revenues to actual revenues and budgeted costs to actual costs. Financial recording system. The system contains all of the organization's transactions, which is a valuable asset for the finance team because we must take good care of it. It contains the organization's logs of their documents using a Google form for each submission and checks their status through Google Sheets. Shared to the organization's Google Drive so they can see the status of their document without having to physically visit the office. Student procurement form. This procedure entails acquiring items priced at 50,000 or less. This process entails the students contacting the suppliers while still following the university's procedures by submitting an SPF along with at least 3 formal quotations from the university's accredited suppliers. Request for procurement of services and materials. This procedure entails acquiring items worth 50,000 won or more. This process necessitates students coordinating with the procurement office, as the procurement office will be in contact with the suppliers. Now, for the second part, we will go through the required finance documents for both pre-activity and post-activity requirements, starting first with pre-activity requirements. Cash advance. Cash advance is used when the organization has an event that requires cash prizes. The document must be passed within 20 days lead time and contains CA memo, contest mechanics, and A form and DTS. Direct payment honorarium. A procedure wherein the organization requests a check directed to the establishment for the expenses to be incurred for a specific activity and the company representative picks up the check from the accounting office. Direct payment SPF. SPF is for procuring items that are worth 50,000 and below. The students are the ones that will contact the suppliers. However, the requesting student should undergo the due process by submitting an SPF along with 3 formal quotations from the accredited suppliers of the university. Direct payment RPSM. RPSM is for procuring items that are worth 50,000 won and above. The requesting student or organization should coordinate with the procurement office as they are the ones that will coordinate with the suppliers.
And now, let's head on over for the post-activity requirements. No expense is a form used for activities that did not incur any expenses. This document must also contain the A form and DTS and make sure that the activity name and activity title are consistent with the A form. The signatory for noted by must contain a higher position than the signatory in the prepared by. Book transfer is a process done when an organization availed of the services of establishments and offices operating inside the campus. It must contain a BT memo and make sure that they use the right memo according to the amount that they're processing. The document must also contain requisition slips and billing statements. If it's for food expenses, tokens, and venue expenses, the document must contain GALs, LOP, and judge or speaker credentials. Direct payment is a procedure wherein the organization requests a check directed to the establishment for the expenses to be incurred for a specific activity, and the company representative picks up the check from the accounting office. Petty cash replenishment is a finance process wherein the organization will replenish its funds to pay for the event and the treasurer assigned. Liquidation is a post-cash advance procedure where the treasurer will have to summarize the actual expense to which the withdrawn cash or check was used. The fundraising activity report is a detailed report of the revenues and expenses that an organization has incurred during a fundraising activity. The deadline of this is 2 weeks after the activity. Reimbursement is a process done when an organization fails to process a receipt for petty cash within its 3-month validity. This process is only upon the approval of the CSO's Executive Vice Chairperson for Finance. Lastly, we will discuss how these finance documents are submitted. This online term, email threading, is very important since the accounting office will account not only for the organization's finance documents but also the permission of each signatory. So first, the treasurer, or the person who will send the email, will need the email approval of the signatories included in their finance document in a single email thread. Once they are complete, that person will email to the current Vice Chairperson for Finance, CC the Executive Vice Chairperson for Finance for checking. If it's approved, the Vice Chairperson will notify the sender and send the G-Forms link where it will reflect in the Finance Recording System or FRS. Afterwards, CSO's finance team will check the document and update the FRS for the document status. Wow! That's a lot to process, am I right? But through constant guidance, hard work, and dedication, these finance processes will surely be a piece of cake for you guys. Thank you so much for watching and see you guys on the next crash course.